What up, everybody? Today we are talking about something very important for the smart home. We're talking about internet. Internet is the foundation for the entire smart home, no matter what platform you're on. And that's speeds from your provider and it's your router. Both very important before you even get started to build your smart home. And today we're going to talk about some internet that pissed me off. We'll get into that in a minute. So let's get started. Hey, it's George Langabeer with Silverhammer Surveillance. Here on the channel, we talk smart home tech. We talk home security. Lately, we've been talking colon cancer because yours truly was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer in October 2022. I'm trying to be a normal person. I'm trying to kick the cancer's butt, and it's working as of now, so that's good, but it's still very important for me to share that journey and spread awareness. But today, we're not talking about that. Today, we're talking about the smart home, and we're talking about the foundation, the building blocks of the smart home, internet. How important it is to have good speeds from your provider, but also to have a good router or a mesh router. And that's what we're talking about today. Now, in the preview, I talked about internet that's pissing me off. Well, I can tell you, if you've followed the channel and you've watched our smart home tours, you know I was a huge fan of the Orbi mesh system. I had the Midnight Black edition. I was proud of that sucker. I talked about it all the time. It was the Orbi 960 series. You know what? And like I said, I talked about it all the time, and I just loved it. But you know, you've also seen my videos about HomePods versus Sonos. How many HomePods is too many? Well, after some serious investigation on what the heck was going on, because I had 11 HomePods in here, and I was just having problems, and there weren't a lot of videos out there to see if I was the only one. But if you've watched, you know I kept testing that. Well, I kept problem solving and trying this and trying that. It got to the point where I decided to just take my Orbi out of the equation, and I went to my Cox panoramic router. And what pissed me off was I spent $1,500 on that Orbi. I talked about it all the time. You'd think I was getting paid by Netgear. I was not. I bought that with my own money. But when I went back to the Cox panoramic router, it was better. I had higher speeds and speed tests. I had better performance from all those HomePods. And that really upset me because I spent $1,500 on this thing. And then I go to my one little router from Cox. And I'm not talking about a mesh system like the Orbi was. I'm talking about a single standalone panoramic Wi-Fi router. I was doing better. And that's irritating. But I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't just use Cox's router. I mean, who am I? No, I'm not that guy that uses your given router from your provider. No. So I did some research, and I kept looking, and I kept looking. And I settled on the good old Amplifi Alien Router. And man, am I happy I did. And we're going to talk about that, why I'm so happy about it. But this bad boy right here is a beast. So let's start by unboxing it. Then we'll talk about some specs, and we'll get into it and what I think about it and why I love it so much. So let's go to the unboxing. Okay, so I opened the box. I want to mention right off the bat that the Amplifi Alien Router is HomeKit compatible, meaning it's a HomeKit router if you just have a standalone single router. If you add a mesh point to the mix or multiple routers, it is no longer HomeKit compatible, so keep that in mind. I found the benefits of having a mesh system to outweigh the HomeKit compatibility, so even though I'm a HomeKit guy, I have 3 routers in the mix. Now, as far as the routers go, if you have a full-blown router, it has 4 gigabit ports. So in my case, I have 12 ports. If you're having mesh points, the standalone router will have 4, and then your mesh points will each have 1 gigabit port. And then as far as what's in the box, you've got the router, the power supply, and an Ethernet cord. The build quality of the router feels great. It's kind of got like a silicone feel to it, almost like an Apple iPhone case. You've got the ports on the bottom and the back, and your power supply goes in the bottom. And then you can see that touchscreen, even though it's not illuminated yet, that touchscreen is awesome. And then again, you've got the power cord and the Ethernet cord that come with it. And that's what's in the box. Moving on. All right, so now let's just talk about the router itself, some specs, and what I think about it. All right, so this is a Wi-Fi 6 mesh system. So by mesh means that I have 3 routers. One's right here. This bad boy looks badass, by the way. I love the LED. We're going to get into that, but it's got a touch screen. Very cool. But I've got one in here. I've got basically one on each floor. I got one in our master bedroom, and I've got one in our basement. And I did that because with the Orbi, you know, I didn't know the kind of problems I was having, if it was just coverage related or what it was, but I decided to have maximum coverage. We also use our rooftop deck as a 4th floor, and we also bring a TV outside to our patio on the 1st floor. So I just want to make sure I had all my bases covered. So I have 3 of these, and I have full-blown routers on each floor. But again, it's Wi-Fi 6. It's got an 8x8 super antenna, which helps it communicate between the 3 mesh points, which is awesome. True gigabit speeds. It's got a gigabit WAN port and 4 gigabit LAN ports, which is great. Scalable and customizable. You can just have one of these as a router, and that'll cover up to 3,000 square feet. You can add a mesh point or another router to get up to 6,000 square feet. And then if you have 2 routers and a mesh point, you can go over 6,000 square feet, which is amazing. Now I have 3 full-blown routers just because I'm me. All right, so very customizable. Let's see, we've talked about the gigabit ports, AMPLIFI App. Now, we'll talk about the app in a second, but you can have your network set up in under a minute, and that's what Amplify is saying, and they're correct. It's very easy through the app. So awesome to set up, so no matter what your tech level expertise is, you'll be cool with this router. The app is jam-packed with features. We're going to talk about the app, but you can do things like guest access, test performance, so you can do your speed test from there. You can set priorities, so you can go from just a normal priority to a streaming priority to a gaming priority. This is a great gaming router. Now, I personally am not a gaming person, so I can't tell you about testing through that, but I can tell from other testimonials and things, this is a great gaming router, and I don't doubt it one bit. So you can do normal, you can do streaming, and you can do gaming priorities for each of your devices, which is awesome. You can group devices to schedule internet access. So it's also got a child feature on here, so you can shut off your kids' internet access at certain times. And it's a very in-depth one. Now, a lot of routers will charge you for that. They do not. That's in there. Amplify Teleport, which is awesome. It's a free VPN service, so you can actually use your home internet when you're away. Again, some other routers charge you for this. This is free with Amplify, and it's awesome. And again, it's called Teleport. And then it's got a touchscreen on it. And from that touchscreen, we'll talk about it in a second, and I'll show it to you. But you've got the router performance, you got the devices, you can do a speed test from here, you can do firmware updates. But again, we'll talk about that in a second. As far as hardware inside the router, it's backwards compatible to Wi-Fi 5. Again, this is Wi-Fi 6 compatible. And Wi-Fi 6 gives you faster speeds and distance. It's better for going through walls and stuff in your house. But you know, if your devices are all Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6 doesn't matter. But this is backwards compatible. And as the future rolls out, every device is going to be Wi-Fi 6. So this is ready for that. This has got a 2.2 gigahertz CPU inside, which gives you dedicated connections to give you higher speeds when doing multiple functions at the same time. So if you're streaming and gaming and doing all that at the same place, so if you got kids playing games or you're playing games and you're streaming in another room, this CPU in this bad boy helps with those connections, which is so cool. And that's where, if you're comparing to this Orbi, it just blows the Orbi away. And we'll talk about prices in a second, but this is cheaper and much better performance. So screw you, Orbi, screw you. I want my $1,500 back, please. All right, so again, the touch screen, you can do current speeds. So it'll tell you what's going on here in the top. Then at the bottom, you got all your devices. And of course, with a mesh system, each device is going to connect to the router closest to it to give it the best performance. So you can see all that from this touch screen. You got the current connection. So this is wired to my modem, which is behind this TV. Then the other two are just connected to power. So you can see that. You can do your speed tests. And it's pretty cool having this touch screen here, because when you do a speed test from your device, like your iPad or your phone, you're getting the speeds from that device. And that device can actually be slower than your actual connection to the router. So when you do a speed test from the actual touch screen, you're getting a speed test to this actual router. And it doesn't matter which one in the house you're doing it, you're getting that speed test to that specific router, which is very cool. And then you can also do your firmware updates from the touch screen, or you can do it from the app. And again, the app is loaded with features, especially compared to Orbi. All right, so that's the touch screen. Now in the app, you have complete control of your router. And this goes much more in depth than Orbi or some of the others I've tried, and I've tried a lot. I talked about that Orbi a lot in my smart home tubers, but I've had Nest Wi-Fi, I've had other Orbis, I've had Eero, I've had Linksys, I've had every router you can think of. So compared to other apps, this has got complete control, and I love it. You can change your Wi-Fi information, of course, which is your network name and your password. You've got that teleport option, which you can set up your VPN, which is a free service, so you can connect to your Wi-Fi when you're not home, which is fantastic. You can do speed tests in the app as well. Again, that's going to be a speed test of the actual device you're testing it from. You can set priorities for your devices, like I talked about, whether it's the normal, the streaming, or the gaming, which is fantastic. That's really helped my HomePod performance and my Apple TV performance. I put the HomePods on gaming, and it's changed everything. So all those problems I was having, all those videos I've done, all the battle between HomePods and Sonos because the HomePods weren't performance, this router solved my issue. Thank you, Amplify. I don't have to go crazy anymore. Between that and the 83-inch LG that I have that won't fit a Sonos Arc, I don't have to go back to Sonos. In fact, I can't if I wanted to. So that's gonna improve my sanity. I got cancer. I don't need any more problems. All right, you got a child protection schedule, so you can schedule your kids' devices. So if you just want to shut them off at night, you can do that. And it's very in-depth. And again, this is free where other services charge you for it. So that's the app. And then as far as coverage goes, one router, like I said, will give you 3,000 square feet. That's $379. Then you can do a router and a mesh point up to 6,000 square feet, which is $699. And then if you get two routers and a mesh point, it's over 6,000 square feet. That's $1,078. So much cheaper than the $14.99 I paid for that freaking Orbi. So that's it. But I'm very happy with the performance. I mean, the difference in everything from the streaming on Apple TVs to the, most importantly, the HomePods. You know, again, we're running 11 here. I've noticed so much better performance on each one. Just snappier. Siri requests are better. Everything about it. My whole home audio, apparently, I don't know. I'm one of the only guys in the world that wants music playing in every room at all times. I don't believe that. I think there's some of you out there like that. But I want that. I work from home now. I want music playing at all times. And that drove me nuts. And that's why I kept switching back and forth. I think this has solved my problem. I love this thing. But yeah, so overall, a glowing review. I don't think I have a con. I mean, I love the look of it. I guess my one wish is that I could change this LED from green just because of the smart lighting themes I have in here. I understand it's green for branding, you know, much like Xbox. You got to stick to your brand. That's very cool. But that'd be my only complaint, and that's very minor. And you can turn this off, by the way, if that bothers you. You can also change the brightness and also on the touchscreen. So I love the way it's made. I mean, it's got a nice, like almost silicone, like your iPhone case kind of feel. So it's just pleasant to the touch. The touchscreen is very responsive. I love the information on it. I love that you got both options. I love that you can run a speed test from here. The gigabit ports are very responsive. I love everything about it, and one of the best purchases I've made for my smart home. Teresa knows that I have not shut up about it since we got it, because it's going to help my sanity so much. So, and again, I purchased this myself. Amplify is not sponsoring this video, did not send this to me. I just freaking love it. Okay, so that's the Amplify Alien Router. And again, you can get the mesh point or routers individually. And I talked about the prices. I think it's pretty affordable. It's pretty in line. And by the way, as far as gigabit speeds go, this gets you true gigabit speeds. I can't tell you how important that is. Like on Google Wi-Fi, I was not able to get my true gigabit speeds. I never was. So if I was getting speeds of 999 on this, I would have got about 600 on that Google router. And there's several routers where I had that problem. You would think in Orbi I would have got my full speeds. I didn't. I got higher speeds on my Cox Panoramic than I did on that Orbi. But here I'm getting my true gigabit speeds. And when you're paying for gigabit from your provider, you want it to actually give you gigabit on your router. So that's very important. This got me there. But yeah, so anyway, let me know in the comments what you're doing. Hopefully you like this video. Follow me on the socials. Follow me on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm talking a lot more about my health journey now. I'm trying to keep us to normal content unless I have a big update for you on the health journey. I appreciate your support so much. You guys are so loyal and so supportive and so patient with me. We took Memorial Day off so I could be with the family. So trying to give you 2 videos this week. So there's another video coming, by the way. So thank you so much. But yeah, follow me on Instagram. I give a lot of more in-depth in myself and my health updates and all that good stuff. But until that next video, peace and love.